Oh god, it's already February. I didn't do anything in January. I only pet Rem. I didn't make any content. Even after I said I'd start making content again. Hey guys, guess what? It's February, more specifically Valentine's Day, and I am alone. And instead of going out on social activities in the hopes of finding someone I'd be willing to spend a romantic relationship with, I just sit at home and play games with cute girls in them. Oh what, that's not a healthy substitute? What are you, my fucking psychiatrist? Get out of my house. One franchise with games as such is the Shantae series by WayForward. I got introduced to this franchise through online hearsay, which led me to playing the original game on an emulator because I wasn't gonna spend $250. Wait, what? I played it for a bit and then I remember getting stuck not knowing where to go and I haven't touched it since. I think it was the summer of 2014 or 15 when I discovered Shantae and the Pirate's Curse on 3DS. I was on vacation to Italy and I wanted to play something other than Pokemon for once, so I decided to give this game a shot. That turned out to be the right decision because I had a great time with this game. I managed to play it all the way through in the week I was there and I think I even 100%ed it. Fast forward to 2018, I just sit at home and play games with cute girls in them. I thought, why not take some time out of my life and talk about this game? I mean, I don't have much else to do. Also, I haven't played it in a while and I'm curious to see if it still holds up. So let's sit down and get ready to go, which is apparently a phrase according to this game, to review Shantae and the Pirate's Curse. But before that, some background information about the franchise as a whole. The series started on the Game Boy Color with a game simply called Shantae. This was all the way at the end of the system's life cycle. In fact, the Game Boy Advance was already out at this point. As a result, not many people bought it. From what I played, it was a pretty decent game though. I especially liked the presentation, the music was on point and these animations looked really fluid, especially by Game Boy Color standards. The gameplay itself was your standard 2D open world with dungeons, actually kind of like Zelda in that aspect. Shantae could attack by using her hair as a whip and, because she's part genie, use magic to transform into various animals to perform various tasks. And that's basically everything noteworthy I have to tell about this one. After all, we are reviewing Pirate's Curse and not this one. Okay, I know Half Genie Hero has been out for like more than a year now, and it's probably the more relevant game to cover, but I wanted to talk about this one. I like this one more. Tough luck. Pirate's Curse is the third game in the Shantae series. In some cases, starting here would be a bad idea with plot synopsis and all, but the plot of Shantae isn't really all that special. The previous two games had basically the exact same plot. Shantae is the guardian genie of Scuttletown, Risky Boots, the pirate queen, is up to no good. Make her fuck off. In the third game, however, she teams up with Risky Boots as there is a new foe on the horizon, the Pirate Master. Together they must get rid of all the dark magic scattered across Sequin Land, which the Master is using to revive himself. That's pretty much it plot-wise without spoiling anything. Gameplay-wise, the game still got hair-whipping and open-world exploration with dungeons. However, there is one thing about this game that makes a big difference, which, if you look at it in a certain way, is technically a spoiler, but on the other hand, it's also the one thing that sets this game off from the rest, and you know, it says it right there on the download page. Because of circumstances, Shantae can no longer use her magic, so no more animal transformations. As a replacement, she gets to use Risky's old pirate equipment, which includes a hat used for gliding, a scimitar for shovel knighting, and a gun for shooting things. I don't know what else you're gonna do with a gun. You find all these upgrades one by one, and with them you gain access to new areas or hidden pathways that contain all sorts of goodies like heart squids, which can be exchanged for extra heart containers, and cacklebats, which you need to hunt down in order to get the good ending. Some would consider this explorative style of gameplay with movement upgrades and hidden collectibles a Metroidvania. However, I'm inclined to disagree with that. Like I mentioned before, I think these games are more similar to the Legend of Zelda games, or at least Ocarina of Time, because that's the only one I played that follows the standard Zelda formula. You got a bunch of areas, each area has a dungeon or two, within one of these is an upgrade essential to completing said dungeon, you collect 4 of a thing to get extra health, there's Metal Gear Solid, it's Zelda, guys! Or it's just common game design and I'm being all Kotaku on this game. I'm becoming what I despise. But to go on a side tangent here, for me to consider a game a Metroidvania, certain traits need to be there. First of all, the entire world needs to be interconnected, meaning the areas must have multiple connections to other areas instead of just one harbor. Second of all, you need to figure out mostly yourself where you need to go, with barely any moments in which the game nudges you in the right direction. In fact, there usually isn't even a definitive right direction at all. Now, Shantae doesn't really do any of these things, but don't think I dislike the game for not having them. I mean, I like this game. And actually, you know what? This video structure has been pretty dumb up to this point. Let me just fucking grab the... Gameplay! The gameplay is really good. Shantae handles very well. She moves at a good pace and her moves are responsive. And after purchasing a few upgrades, she can absolutely fuck shit up with her hair. The only thing I had to get used to was her jump. It's pretty floaty. And you know, with pretty much every platformer, you can alter your height depending on how long you hold down the button. Get out of this room. That's of course true here as well, but her short hop felt huge to me at first, and the difference between the full jump doesn't seem all that big to me. But I got used to it rather quickly, so I don't think there's much more to say about the gameplay, so let's move on to where I think this game truly excels, the presentation. This game is stylish as hell. Let's start with the graphics. They look amazing. Pretty much everything is done in the 16-bit SNES style except for the artwork, and it really works. All the animations are super fluid and the backgrounds are nice and detailed. The different islands are also nice and varying. Despite the Arabian setting, there's only one desert level and even an ice world. I also really like the design of all the monsters. Half of them are all sorts of monster girls, which is, you know, fine by me. And the other half is just plain goofy little monsters. I mean, look at this guy. He's disgusting, get him out of my face. But this guy though, this guy just fucking explodes. On top of the monster designs, the characters themselves are also really cool looking. I mean, look at this Cyclops general, look at this zombie girl, look at this anime protagonist. What I think helps most of these designs is the game's art style. The previous game's art styles were The newest one is a bit too much in the other direction, but this style is perfect, or at least in my humble opinion. What makes me like these characters even more is this game's writing. This game is one of the few games that actually made me laugh out loud when I first played it. Hell, I still do. My favorite has to be the Squid Baron. This guy's constantly breaking the fourth wall, being very aware that this is all a video game. There's even some feels in here. I won't spoil anything, but if you've played the game, you'll know what I'm talking about. Finally, the music. It's another good one. It's done by Jake Kaufman, who you might know from Shovel Knight. Hey! It sounds amazing. The overworld themes are pretty much all energetic and catchy as hell, but upon entering a dungeon, the overworld tone slows down while still remaining pleasant to the ears. Some of the overworld themes actually sound almost like future funk to me, and having said that, I am now morally obligated to do this. But in all seriousness, the soundtrack is amazing, Jake Kaufman is a god amongst composers, what else is new? Well, actually I don't think I have much else to say about this game, except for one thing. I've pretty much only been listing the positives of this game, but I have to discuss the one problem that I think holds this game back. This game is easy. Really easy, and it's pretty much all because of the items that Shantae can use. Aside from a bunch of food items that can instantly restore her health, she has access to pike balls, which orbit around her and deal damage, bubbles, which block projectiles, monster milk, which increases her damage output, and auto potions, which fully restore her health upon receiving an attack that would otherwise kill her. These items pretty much break the game, and it especially shows during boss fights. They're the kind of bosses in which you need to wait for them to be vulnerable, which I tolerate, I guess. The thing is, bosses that are supposed to be beaten in, say, 5 or 6 cycles, now take 3 or even 2. It completely invalidates even having these bosses when you can just go like
Super Pipe Bomb! Monster Mill!
Did you guys know I cannot die?
When I recorded footage for this game, I decided to do a no heart squid run, meaning I couldn't get health upgrades, but that really didn't make the game any harder, just more tedious because I had to keep using healing items. I should have been doing a no items run, or heck, even a no item and no heart squid run. That would have made things pretty interesting, actually. Too bad I realized this when I was already pretty far into the game and I didn't want to start another file, so But thing is, difficulty is a subjective thing. Not everyone really minds a game being very easy. If the rest of the package provides the entertainment, which it does in this game's case, the whole experience is probably worth it. However, speaking of worth, maybe get this game on sale. Don't get me wrong, I love this game for what it is, but what it is not exactly worth a retail price of $20. And also, yes, Half Genie Hero is a game that exists, and it's also good, but if you want to get into this franchise, I still recommend starting out with Pirate Skurs, despite it being so different from the other games. Aside from the difficulty, I think this game does what it wants to do very well, with its fluid, fast-paced gameplay, beautiful 16-bit graphics, and a soundtrack that is just catchy as hell. If you ever see this game on sale, or if you got some extra money to spend, get this game. You'll be in for a good time.